guys, welcome here at the Body Practice Studio, right?
That's right.
In Spokane, Washington. Third year for me that I come here to train with the coach, Steve Atlas. And today we are happy to share an interview with the coach. So let's start with those very quick 10-12 questions. Can you very quickly explain the concept of the new breed athlete?
Yeah, the new breed athlete is a marriage of many movements that come together according to that person's individual makeup. We're in an industry where you have people who lift weights, or people who do movement, or people who do yoga, or people who run. And it became very divisional, it became very divisive. And after 3.5 years of only working on the body, like body work, gymnastic strength work, floor work, I wanted to go back to weightlifting. And then after fusing weightlifting back in, I wanted to incorporate some of my martial arts, some of the dance things that I have learned over the years, and the yoga. And so I started to fuse all of those things back in, and basically got to this place where it's like, you know, yeah, you can do everything. Yeah. I mean, you might not be an expert in one of those areas, but the diversity is its own place where you feel good, because each one of those things teaches you a lesson. So the new breed athlete is effectively a hybrid, an animal of something that can actually adapt to almost any circumstance of movement or physical expression.
Can you give us just a couple of words about your new program, Mind, Body and Spirit? That seems to be the most deep program you can offer to athletes or your clients.
Yeah. The Mind, Body, Spirit equals balance effectively as a philosophy. It's a, you know, in the expressions, it's all the new breed athlete. Okay, so all the movement stuff, all the body and the physical expression. If we were to take a triangle, right? So on one side we have body over here. So that's all the physical movement and the expressions of that. So the weights, the gymnastic movements, the hand balancing, the yoga, the stretching, and any cardiovascular, all of the things that are physical are over here. The mind is all the protocol, the mental focus, the attitude that goes into it, the sets, the reps, the frequency, the intensity, the load, all that stuff is all part of the mind. And underneath, what I've added and sort of evolved into over the last couple of years, really till it's finally gotten crystallized, where I've identified it as spirit. So the spiritual component is not a religious one. It's really one of personal connectivity, that you're always asking yourself some deeper questions like, you know, why am I doing this? What is so important about me to actually train this stuff? And am I able to connect with other people that think like-minded in this way, this philosophical way? Is this also something that I can do for the remainder of my life? Or am I doing something that is so very short-fused, I'm going to burn out real quick? Yeah. So it tempers a persona of going hard and then being able to scale things so that you can actually do it for a long duration of time. Yeah. So it's a little bit more complete as a training protocol and regimen now.
So is it sort of yoga deep approach?
Yes, very much. The philosophy is very, very much like that.
Much more like yoga than fitness or just training.
Yeah, because the spiritual component really decides whether or not are you doing it for the novelty factor, or are you doing it because it really makes a difference of who you are? In other words, some people do fitness and they're constantly taking selfies because they need the adulation of other people. It's novel and they have to do this. Right. You or I will be doing this no matter what, because it's part of who we are. And this is a greater thing, is that creating something that's a little bit more deeper, a little bit more meaningful. And then, you know, can you connect by using your gifts to basically be able to draw people into the virtues that are long-term? Yeah. And these are questions of the spirit.
What do you research in your personal practice now? And maybe, I don't know, maybe before it was different.
Yeah, now it is different now. I still study different performers. I still study different forms of movement. But mostly I research on myself, always research on myself. It's kind of why when I'm certifying a student, I have it, it's such a long period. I mean, it's a 2-year program when I'm going to endorse somebody and certify them under the Atlas movement. And part of that is because of a personal expression to me, that they actually explore and research themselves doing these movements. So when I'm in here, there's a particular element that I want to be able to do. I'm training all the time and I'm exploring. And a lot of times what people don't see is I'm falling over, you know, I make mistakes and I'm exploring. That's how the body works.
Yeah.
You know, people only see a finished product, but they have no clue that it's hundreds of hours on the floor doing these movements in a coordinated fashion to where you polish them into a place. So most of the research is actually taking concepts that I maybe see or inspired by something, but then coming back and then just practicing over again and again. And a lot of times, man, it's just, it's going to the point of balance and then finding that you don't have balance there. And then doing that enough times where you learn, okay, now I'm in balance. You know, and that's a metaphor for all physical things.
How many hours do you dedicate to your personal practice every single day? And how you connect this to your life?
Yeah, it is a lifestyle. I mean, my job provides an opportunity for me to do more movement than other people. That's the truth. So a light day for me would be a collection of about 3 hours between the morning and afternoon and evening. Whereas a heavier day of training will be anywhere from 5 to 6 hours, depending on how much time I'm really focused on that. More than that, my capacity, I just haven't chosen to really exercise it without the real tangible goal, because when you're training for the diversity of many different movements, it's really difficult to have mastery over any one of those things.
Yeah.
Some people have actually said, hey, why don't you do this? Or how about you train this? Well, I am very curious and I'll always be an explorer of movement. And so I'll never be a master of any one thing. That's, you know, my gig. My thing is the diversification of having some level of being able to go up on canes, go on cubes, go on the floor, go over here, pushing heavy weight, being able to balance myself upside down, or when I have to do a rotational movement, and show a level of flexibility if I want to begin to flow on the floor. Again, not a mastery of movement, but to begin to tie in all things. That's where a lot of my time goes into that. So I get more fulfillment from those things than just saying I can do just this.
Yeah. Well, what is your final goal that you have with your personal clients or athletes? Where do you want to bring them at the end?
Yeah, I think any good teacher, in my opinion, wants their student to actually reach as close of their own potential as possible. My goal is to not make, and I've said this publicly, as you know, I'm not out to make clones of a Steve Atlas. I'm more interested in actually watching the proliferation of the talents and gifts of my student on all sides of life. It just happens to be that I teach a form of movement as opposed to, say, business or selling real estate or something like that. My genre is human kinetics and movement. So it's been very, very self-empowering to watch people grow and then have these epiphanal moments, where they're like, wow, I mean, I was able to do something I could never do in my life before. And it's like, okay, that's one more notch in the advancement of how they progress as people. So yeah, it's an easy thing because it's in the body, but then they start gaining confidence from that. So the closer they can do toward their potential, the happier that I am as a coach, because at this stage, after almost 23 years of coaching people, you're not doing it really for the money. Of course, you have to make a living, but you do it because, watching you, like last night when we were training just last night, watching you do something that you were not proficient in, but you had this new hunger, like a new passion to really say, I want to get good in this. And those are the things for me that make me very motivated to teach and to watch. So the end game is not it can't be defined in a single thing as much as it is, so long as I have the time with you, I want to bring you as close toward your potential as I can as a person.
Right. So what do you expect from your athletes or clients? What do you expect from them?
The first thing I expect from them is to be very honest and transparent with me and with their expectations. Like some people say, "Hey Steve, can you teach me this and this?" And my response would be, yes, I can teach you those things if you're willing to have the time and the energy every day to devote to these things, because there's a discord of understanding that what people want typically and what they're actually able to do or willing to do are usually two different things. And so, to be honest, number one, be very honest with the coach, and people that come to you, I would, the same thing. And also, more or less, be honest with yourself. If you're one of these people that are so easily distracted by all these things, and you come to me to hire you for very specific things, just to be candid and real honest with people, I'm probably not the right coach, because I'm the guy that said, you're wanting me to help you with these things, but you really don't want to train these things that much. And you have to understand that in order to acquire these things, you got to put in a lot of time. So it's not a judgment against you as the athlete. You just have to have a clear understanding and be real with yourself about what the things you want. Then come to me and then have me help you with what that vision is.
That's maybe also a matter of trust, right?
Sure.
Between them and the coach.
Absolutely.
And you.